Why do you fight, John?
What?
You fight? Why?
To win.
What is up, all my mammals? The third episode of Halo Season 2 just dropped, and I think it's the best episode so far. Yes, there's only been 3 episodes, and yes, let's get into the review of episode 3 for Season 2 of Halo the series. So after the events of the last episode, Chief took his crew out, and they weren't aware that he was lying, but they had a sense that he was lying about being able to just freely go and look for the Cobalt team. Lying, but they're going to go along with it because they, he's the chief, so they kind of just do what he tells them to do. They got suspended for insubordination. Even Keyes himself was like, I'm the only reason you're still standing here. But Chief is still stubborn and strong about his beliefs, which aren't incorrect. I really feel like Pablo Schreiber has really upped his acting game since last season, and even in the last couple episodes. This is his best performance so far. I've never disliked him as an actor. I've just been like, okay, whatever. He's an actor. He's Liv Schreiber's brother, who also is a great actor. His acting was a lot better. I feel like the acting overall in this episode was kind of a lot better. Way more dramatic. I know that I'm sure some people were probably bored by the lack of action. There was only a bit of action in the beginning and a little bit later. This was a very talky episode, but I didn't mind it because it was a good story. The writing is a lot better. The acting is so much better, like I said. And I kind of like that there isn't tons of action all the time. I tend to get bored if there's just constant action, so I don't mind the breaks. This is the third episode, and we're getting more character development on all the mains and story development. So we know that Chief is believing that the Covenant are going to attack Reach, and he's still trying to discover evidence for that. And he's very tenacious. He won't give up no matter what. No matter what anyone tells him, whether he's suspended or not, he's still going to just do whatever he wants to do. And I dig it for that. I still feel like Pablo's voice is slightly rougher than it was first season, just so he can sound a bit more like Chief. Good on him for getting a lot better at playing the role. And then some more development on Ackerman's character, which I was expecting, and I'm glad that they did this. But again, it's still kind of ambiguous in a way, but a really great character moment for Ackerson, where we see that he has a father whose mental problems, like dementia or senile, but it shows that he isn't a complete monster, and he has a heart, and he has important people in his family that he wants to keep safe. So that was a good moment for his character to show that he isn't a complete bastard. But the jury is kind of still out on what his exact motivations are, and him and Chief are still butting heads. And Chief just won't give up. He's stubborn, and so is Ackerson. But I'm still interested to see where his character goes, because I feel like he could still go either way. Be a POS or a good dude. I think he's going to redeem himself. That's what I feel.
You lied to us.
We go back to Chief and with his team, and when they realize that he actually was lying, like I'm sure they kind of expected, they get super pissed at him. But Chief won't let up. He is stubborn, and this is the best acting I've seen from I keep wanting to call him Pedro just because of pedropascal. Yeah, this is a really great acting on Pablo Schreiber's part. I don't know. So far, acting wise, this is the best episode. It's way more dramatic, which I don't mind again. And I liked the angle they decided to go with. And then we're back to Quan Ha on the rubble, and she was a lot better in this episode too, overall. She felt pretty bland to me, especially in the first season. I don't know, she just wasn't working. But they really kind of turned the tables on all the characters, and they're a lot better. They're way more developed, and the acting is better. But yeah, Quan Ha played by, interesting enough, the actress that plays her, his name is Yerin Ha. I'm not sure if they did that on purpose, but I actually just wanted to take a look at her again from season 1, and you can see, like, to me, she looks so different that I thought it was somebody else. Like, very different. Way more, she blends in a lot better, so that could be a choice on her side for, like, not being seen, which is, could easily happen with how distinct she looked. But she's gotten a lot cooler. She has some moments that remind me of Kamoko from The Boys, a show that I absolutely love. She's, like, hardcore on that show. Then there's a moment with Ackerman and Keyes in the morgue where it's revealed that the Cobalt team, it did in fact die, but it's been covered up, so no one is aware of it yet. So yeah, the members from the Cobalt team were attacked by the Covenant, thus confirming John's suspicions. So Ackerson is aware that what John was saying wasn't a lie, and now Keyes is like, alright, so he was telling the truth, but Keyes is not having any of that. He's not going along with that.
Can I count on you? Go fuck yourself.
So Keyes ain't having none of that, and I don't remember there being swearing before. Maybe this was the first F-bomb ever dropped in the series. Then John goes to talk to Admiral Margaret Palangonsky, but he doesn't get the answers that he wanted. She's essentially like, go along with it, kiss their ass, kiss whoever ass you need to, like, stay out of trouble. He's like, no, sorry, I gotta figure out what's going on here, what happened to Cobalt team, and he doesn't know that they're died, and Ackerman and Oni are still just saying that they're missing. Then I go back to see what Halsey's up to in the simulation room that I still almost feel may or may not be actually real. But Halsey and Ackerman have another moment, and we learn some more about Ackerson. Well, yeah, we learned that he had a little sister, and that's who the clone girl is from the first episodes, with the red hair and the nose that kept bleeding. And Halsey seems to know his entire backstory about how the fact that she died, but I don't think he knew that she died in the way Halsey explains, in that they were trying to augment her to turn her into a Spartan like the chief and whatnot, but it didn't work out, and then she died. At the same time, she could just be playing mind games with them. Ackerson doesn't seem to be aware of this. Some more back and forth between Halsey and Ackerson. Maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's just playing along. Yeah, so the acting for this character, Ackerson, Joseph Morgan, he was a lot better too. Everyone just seems to have been, like, elevated acting-wise just a bit more in this episode, and in this episode specifically. Then Ackerson leaves, but then comes back a second later, revealing Soren. So now they're both in this simulation cell of some sort. Soren never said anything. He's just kind of looking at her like, what the F, what's going on? So we're not going to find out what they're going to talk about until next episode. Liara gets into some crap, and they're trying to find out what happened to Quan and Kessler, and also what's up with Soren, and she's not really giving it up. They throw her in some kind of airlock chamber, but then the door opens, and there is Quan, who just kicked all their butts, which is why she reminds me of Kamoko from The Boys so much. She has, like, a dark viciousness to her that you could see some in the first season, but you can see she's bleeding, and she took out all the people in that room. There you go, Quan Ha again. Someone tries to sneak up on them, and she knows they're there, so she has her whole, like, survivalist fight instinct still in her, and she takes this person out without hesitation. Again, which is so much why it reminds me of Kumoko. Then Ackerson decides, or some type of decision he's probably been struggling with for years, to help out his dad, who his dad kept saying to him, "Don't let them take me alive." Exactly who them is could have multiple different meanings, where he decides to help his dad, like, pass on to the next life. but not before bringing in a clone of his sister, his daughter, who, he gets to see one last time before he dies. Ackerson gave him a pill of some sort, maybe cyanide or whatnot, or who knows, its future could be way more advanced. And he dies with his daughter in his arms, which I guess is the best way to do it instead of letting him suffer or getting killed in some terrible way. So some further development of Ackerson, and now here we are back to Chief talking to Perez again, who's in a church praying, and John has never been in a church his entire life. Perez is still kind of shaken up, and she reveals of some recording that I'm not sure if she says how she got it, but he lets John listen to the recording, and it's of the Elite Covenant, maybe the Arbiter, who we kind of saw earlier, and she translates it for him. So I'm not sure if she doesn't sound like they're speaking Spanish or whatever, or what language she can speak. So perhaps they are able to understand their language somehow, but John doesn't question it. She just translates for him, and the Covenant's saying that they're basically saying they're already there, and they're gonna wipe everybody out. Once Perez finishes, she's straight up like, they're here already, aren't they? Chief doesn't say yes or no, and then boom, an explosion. So that's how the episode ends. Whether that explosion is the Covenant, they don't reveal if it's the Covenant or not who causes this explosion. Maybe it isn't, but that's the cliffhanger, the way the episode ends. We gotta wait another week to find out what's going on. Personally, for me, that was the best episode so far of season 2. Only episode 3, but a lot of great moments, a lot of build-ups. This feels like the end of the quote-unquote first act of this season, and now we're getting into the second act, which would be the next few episodes, and then the last one or two would be act 3. But this is the meat of the show, the big part of the show that's coming up. All the characters, I feel like they're developing them. And some more great development with Ackerson's character, to see who he is and see that maybe he's not as big of a jerk as they're setting him up to be. But another great episode, best one so far. Ended on a good, solid cliffhanger, and that's what you want. You want people to watch this episode and be like, all right, well, I got to see next episode. But I want y'all to tell me I want you guys to tell me, all my mammals out there, to tell me if you watched this episode. What do you think so far? What do you think of season 2 so far? I think it's already better than season 1. Personally, reading online, that's a lot of other people's opinions too. Other people say maybe it's too slow, but I don't mind the slowness because the drama and the writing is way better. But yes, that's it for me, all my mammals and mammettes. Season 2, episode 3, solid episode, great episode. Looking forward to next week, so I'm glad that this show is so much better. I kind of had a feeling it would be. I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing where the show can go and how much, if better, it can get. But don't forget, like and subscribe, comment below, and as always, don't forget to keep stinking gaming.